What is up, guys? We are talking free agency, and I am in an Airbnb. I just noticed I have something on my shirt, which is great. And we are going to talk live and react to all the biggest free agent news. The biggest free agents that we have that we're going to look for news on. First of all, Gordon Hayward. He's the number one guy now out there in free agency. I know he's not an all-star anymore, but he is still a guy who can play make, who is a big wing, athletic wing, a guy who can score on all three levels, and a good locker room guy. So we've got Gordon Hayward. We're going to have news on him pretty soon. And one report said that he wants to go to the Pacers. That's where he's from. He still lives there in the offseason, and that would be huge for the Pacers because it would have to be a sign and trade because they don't have any cap space. But what the Pacers could do is do a sign and trade, and they would have to send to the Celtics Miles Turner and TJ Warren, something like that. That would solve the big man issue for the Celtics. That would be huge if that news went down. And so, what else do we have? We've got Christian Wood, Fred VanVleet, Brandon Ingram. I expect he'll get the max from the New Orleans Pelicans. Davis Bertans as well. I know he's going to look for as much money as he can get, but we're going to have the Washington Wizards really wanting him back. Free agency does not start an hour from now. It starts right now. So, thoughts on Celtics center position? Asks Rue, who has one of my favorite YouTube channels. I think that the Celtics don't have any money at all, and so fixing their center position is going to be really interesting. And hopefully for them, they can do a sign and trade with the Pacers because the Pacers don't have any money either, and for them to get rid of Victor Oladipo and Miles Turner would be huge. It's going to be a really tough thing to do to pull off. One of the cool things that we saw was Serge Ibaka. He tweeted out, it was a tweet, it was an Instagram of him on a private plane, and it said that he's heading to ... And it's gonna be interesting where he lands because he can get the most money. He can get the most money with Toronto, but everyone wants some Serge Ibaka. My dog wants me to play. Goran Dragic. I'm glad I can announce I am staying with my Heat Nation family. Let's finish the job we started. # Let's go Heat. So Goran Dragic is going to stay with the Heat, which we thought was the case, which is great for them. Goran Dragic, obviously he got hurt and he wasn't able to be that same player in the finals as he was earlier in the playoffs. Goran Dragic staying with the Heat, which is huge. If you guys can hear that, we've got the dog here being really annoying, and that's okay. All right, cool. So somebody wants to know what editor I use. Harden to the Nets would be a locker room show. The editor that I use is just a guy. His name is David, and he's just a guy that I hire. And I just started using him last week. So if you notice anything that's changed. All right. Wow, this is crazy, y'all. I'm doing these live streams for the first time. I thought we were gonna have some breaking news here right off the top, but we don't. That's okay. What are your thoughts on Hayward? My thoughts are that Gordon Hayward, he can go to one of these teams with cap space. He can stay with the Celtics, or he can try to force a sign and trade to Indiana, and we'll see what happens. All right, here we go. Yeah, so Goran Dragic set to sign a 2-year, $37 million deal with the Miami Heat, which is big. So the 2 years, I'm sure it's a 1+1. So Goran Dragic stays with the Heat, and they want to preserve that cap space for Giannis. next offseason. So the Heat, Toronto, they're not going to sign any long-term free agents. Casey, what is your opinion on the Lakers? My opinion is that they're going to be just fine. In fact, they've upgraded. They have now Dennis Schroeder, and that's the one thing that they really needed was a guy to run their offense when LeBron sits. Who was the Lakers' third best player in the playoffs and in the finals? They didn't have a third best player. Like, that's insane that they were able to win with AD and they were able to win with LeBron and no third best player. Like, that is insane. Now Dennis Schroeder comes in there. He is a guaranteed third best Laker. We don't even have to wonder about it anymore. And his defense improved too. But, right this second, Giannis Antetokounmpo can sign the Supermax right now. I don't know if he's back from vacation in Greece. Has anyone seen if he's back from vacation in Greece? Anyone? I haven't. So right now, man, that Supermax is on the table for Giannis to sign. Is he going to sign it? That is the biggest question in free agency. Look, let's not sugarcoat this. This free agent class is weak. This is a weak free agent class. I'm going to read you my top 10 free agents, okay? Fred VanVleet, Christian Wood, Montrezl Harrell, Jordan Clarkson, Danilo Gallinari, Brandon Ingram, Davis Bertans, Malik Beasley, Bogdan Bogdanovic. Look, some of these are some good names, but they're not great names. This isn't last year's free agency with, Kawhi Leonard. This isn't next year with Giannis or Victor Oladipo, whoever. This is a weak class. The biggest story is, will Giannis sign that Supermax, right? And I don't think he's going to. And if he doesn't, then, the Bucks are in a tight spot, man. They gave up 3 first-round picks and 2 pick swaps for a guy on an expiring contract who is a one-time All-Star. So if he doesn't sign, if they don't get to the finals, let alone win a championship, and he leaves, they are in big trouble. I don't think the Bucks were ever winning either. I really don't. All right, so what do we have here? Let's see. So Hayward can still do a sign and trade. Ask Kevin. Yes, Hayward can do a sign and trade. Really, all it is the Boston Celtics saying, look, if there's a team out there without cap space that wants Gordon Hayward and Gordon wants to go there, like, we will sign him and trade him if you're going to give us back something good. And so Shams reported that Gordon Hayward is zeroed in on the Indiana Pacers. That's where he's from. That's where he played his college ball. And he still lives there in the offseason. So if he really wants to go to Indiana, dude, they have to do a sign and trade, right? And the crazy thing is that it's going to be really tough. But we just got our first super chat. Whoop, whoop. It's from Hayden. Casey, just wondering. Hayden asks, Casey, just wondering if I could get your opinion on what the Sixers should do during free agency to improve. So the great thing about the Sixers is they have already done a handful of moves that are awesome. I mean, I cannot believe that Daryl Morey comes in there and he fixes their biggest issue in like 3 hours. You know what I mean? It's like you need to I'm just reading alert that I just got. Yeah, I know that about Giannis. You need to have shooting around Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, and you need to get rid of the Al Horford contract. He comes in, he solves those issues right away. And so who are the free agents that the Sixers can get? They're not going to be super impactful, great guys because they're over the cap. The Sixers are. So, what are they going to do? They're not over the cap. Now they have a little bit of cap room, but there's not going to be a big, home run that they're going to hit with free agency. If the Sixers are really going to improve, it's going to have to be through a trade. Okay, so let's see. We have a little bit of news, a 2-year guaranteed deal from the Nuggets for an Argentinian forward named Facundo Campazzo. All right, never heard of him. He's from Real Madrid. He is a guard. Good for him. All right, never mind. Sorry about that. Ogar is asking thoughts on the Clippers. Who should they sign? They should just re-sign their own free agents. That is going to be the Clippers' number one priority right now, because the Clippers don't have cap space, is to re-sign your own free agents, because the way the NBA works, you can re-sign your own free agents to go over the cap. So if you don't have any cap space, you can't bring in outside guys. You can only re-sign your own guys. So what the Clippers need to do today is re-sign Montrezl Harrell, re-sign Marcus Morris, guys like that. That is exactly what they need to do. And if the Clippers are going to improve, they're going to have to do it through a trade. All right. Let's see. What are your thoughts on Enes Kanter? I mean, look, let's be honest. Enes is past his prime. Enes is going back to where it all started in Portland, which is awesome. And I know that they love him in Portland. And he seems like a really good, locker room guy. He's just really bad on defense. I don't think you can play him in a big playoff series, especially against some of the West teams that have good front courts like the LA Lakers. So to me, Enes Kanter to the Blazers is a very minor move. I think the really big move for the Blazers is getting Robert Covington and sending, I believe it was 2 first-round picks. Robert Covington, I think, is better than 90% of these guys that you can get in free agency. Like, how good is Rocco, right? He is on one of the most team-friendly contracts in the league. He is what every team wants on defense. He is a guy who is an athletic wing who can switch and guard almost every position, 1 through 4 at least. And he's a guy who can contribute meaningfully on offense. So big get for the Blazers. All right, let's see. What do we got? Man, these are coming in fast. Are you guys try and read one of these? This is tough, right? This is really tough. I think I can pause my chat. No? I don't know. All right, guys. So let's just, because this is hard to see. If someone really has a question, I hate to do this, but if you do the super chat, and we've only gotten one, it will pin and I can read it easily. But for now, let's talk about the teams that have the most cap space. So who is going to be out there improving big time? So when you guys are asking, what is this team going to do in free agency? Most of the time, the answer is nothing, because they don't have any money to spend. But there are some teams that do have money to spend. Strong indication is that the Nets will be securing a commitment from Joe Harris, despite external interest. So good for Joe Harris. He's going to stay. He's going to stay in Brooklyn, which is, probably smart if he wants to win. Okay, we got 2 super chats here. Number 1 is Albert asking, what do you think of Danny Ainge trying to get Turner and Oladipo for Hayward? I think he can totally do that, Albert, because first of all, you would probably say that's a lot to ask, right? But here's the deal. The Pacers don't have the leverage in this situation, because the only way the Pacers can get Gordon Hayward, if they really want him, is to get the Celtics to play ball. Because the Pacers have to do a sign and trade, so they need the Celtics to dance with them, right? It takes 2. And so the Celtics can say, no, I'm sorry, we're not going to do this sign. We're not going to help you out unless you send us Turner and Oladipo. And the other thing is that the Pacers are financially in trouble. So their owner, the way he became a billionaire was by owning shopping malls, okay? And one of the biggest thing that's been hit in the pandemic is shopping malls. And so if honestly, in my city where I live in Florida, our local mall is owned by Simon Malls, and that is the Pacers owner. And so why that's relevant is that the Pacers are probably not going to take back more money than they send out, right? Because they don't want to take on even more money to pay that bill. So what the Pacers are going to have to do is give up several players to get Gordon Hayward. Because I believe Turner, here, I've got it pulled up. Miles Turner makes $17.5 million. Gordon Hayward makes $38 million. That's a big gap. That's what, I don't know, quick math, $18 million. So that's why Ainge is trying to get both, is because he knows he has the leverage in this negotiate. He can ask for both, right? All right, so Shuchi, oh, shoot. Sorry, Shuchi. Let me go back. Sorry, it got knocked off there. Here it is. What do you think will happen with Gordon Hayward? Okay, same thing. What I think will happen with Gordon Hayward is that the Pacers will do a sign and trade with him, and he'll go to Indiana. I really, really think that because Gordon wants it. The Pacers have to move on from Miles Turner or Victor Oladipo at some point. I really do think that that'll get done. And I think that'll be really good for both the Pacers and for the Celtics. The Celtics are going to get Miles Turner, who will automatically be their starting center, even though, he plays some power forward, he plays some center. I think he'll be their starting center, which is the biggest hole in their roster is that center spot. And if Ainge is able to get back TJ Warren, like that'll be a great score off the bench for them, right? And so I think it'll be great for the Celtics. It'll be great for Indy because they get that number one option who also can play make, and he can defend, and he can score at all three levels, and he's a great locker room guy, all that stuff. I think Gordon Hayward will be a great get for them. Myers Leonard signs a 2-year deal worth nearly $20 million with Miami. Wow. So what we're seeing here, guys, is, Miami is signing these 2-year deals, or probably these 1+1 deals, because they're retaining that money for Giannis next summer. And it'll be basically the same Miami Heat team from last year, because they're not going to go out and give a bunch of money to guys and commit long-term. So the teams that have the most cap space, as I check to see if there are any more super chats, because I don't want to miss any of them. I'm just making sure we don't have any more super chats. I don't see any, so we're good. I'm going to keep an eye out for those. Guys, the teams with the most cap space in order are the Atlanta Hawks with $44 million, the New York Knicks with $35 million, the Charlotte Hornets with 19, and the Detroit Pistons with just $9.5 million. So that's 4 teams with big money: Atlanta, New York, Charlotte, and Detroit. Now, the wild card here is Miami and Toronto, but they only have cap space if they let their free agents go, and they're not going to do that, right? We're already seeing that with Miami. Miami is re-signing their free agents. Raptors, here we go. Raptors free agent Fred VanVleet will meet with multiple teams at the start of free agency. Someone just tweeted me something funny. Okay, so guys, Fred VanVleet, we are not going to have a quick answer on Fred VanVleet. He is going to go ahead and meet with multiple teams, so that's good. Who do you think the Thunder will sign? Okay, who do you think the Thunder will sign? Let's see. The Thunder don't have any cap space, so they will sign probably no one, or guys who are kind of minimum guys. They are going to lose, several players like a Danilo Gallinari. So they're going to replace them with, guys who really aren't on our radar, who don't make a big difference. That's my prediction. We'll see if maybe they make a big trade with all those picks that they have. But right now, I don't see the Thunder doing anything meaningful. And next year is probably a rebuilding year for them, to be honest. So, guys, the one team that I am really excited about, what do they do, is the Atlanta Hawks. They have the most cap space at $44 million. Like, the Atlanta Hawks are going to add whoever they want. Like, if the Atlanta Hawks want any of these big-name guys, they're going to get them. Let's see, Fred VanVleet, Christian Wood, Brandon Ingram, Davis Bertans, Bogdan Bogdanovic. Let's see who else. Danilo Gallinari, Montrezl Harrell. And some of the reports are saying that the Atlanta Hawks want 2 of the big 4 shooters that are out there, big 4 veteran shooters. So, for example, if the Atlanta Hawks want to add Bogdan Bogdanovic and Danilo Gallinari, they will do that. If the Atlanta Hawks want to add, I don't know, a center, well, they're not going to add a center because of everyone that they just drafted, but they want to add a really good just scorer like Jordan Clarkson. The Atlanta Hawks are trying to make the playoffs next season, and I think they will make the playoffs. And that is, that is huge because they're that team that was the biggest disappointment of the first half of last season, right? The Atlanta Hawks, we all thought this is going to be the fun young team to watch. And they disappointed. They fell flat on their face from day one. So, it ended up the most exciting young team was the Memphis Grizzlies. We weren't sure if John Morant was going to be that number 2 overall pick talent, and he turned out to be the rookie. He was awesome. I loved watching the Grizz last year. I didn't want to watch Hawks games, but the Hawks are going to tender. So that'd be cool. So I'm really interested in how the Hawks shape their team with this $44 million that they have. So I think that's why. All right. So J.R. Bam Curry, who is one of our favorites. J.R. Bam, what up, dude? He says, Clint Capella and Okongwu, what to do? I guess you're asking, how do they fit in with each other? Well, I think that they drafted Onyeka Okongwu because, sorry, I did the wrong super chat, says Javier Alvarez. Well, Javier, what's your question, buddy? Here it is. Campazzo to Denver is bigger than you think. Awesome. He has been Luka's replacement as Real Madrid's best player. That's great. He will come off the bench. Probably they will not sign Monte Morris, their backup point guard he's talking about. He is going to have an impact. That's great. That's good. I hope so. I hope that Facundo Campazzo is awesome for them. That's awesome. So J.R. Bam Curry, dude, I think that honestly, Onyeka Okongwu is going to be for defense. They got a guy there because he was the best defensive prospect in the draft who also could shoot some, but he's a really good, just kind of double guy at USC. And so they're hoping that he can offer that rim protection that they've missed for years. The Atlanta Hawks have been one of the worst paint defense teams for several years. If you guys play daily fantasy, which I used to play a lot of daily fantasy, you knew that if you played a center against the Hawks defense, you were going to feast. So the Hawks are done with just being an awful rim protection team. So I think that's why they drafted Onyeka Okongwu. Let's see. Knicks have $35 million in cap space. What should they do? Honestly, I think it would be great if the Knicks signed Gordon Hayward. I think that would be awesome. If they signed Gordon Hayward to kind of, bring along those younger guys, RJ Barrett especially. And that's exactly what Gordon thought he was getting with the Boston Celtics, was he was going to be like that mentor to an up-and-coming team. Obviously, the Celtics have more talent than the Knicks, right? But that's not what ended up happening. What happened in Boston was he hurt himself on the very first night. As he got better, those young guys flourished without him, Then they end up signing Kyrie Irving, and the dynamic with Gordon Hayward on that team was changed from day one. I think he could go to the Knicks, stay in the East, be an all-star again, and finally have that sort of mentor role on an up-and-coming team. I think, honestly, with the Knicks $35 million, I'm not saying pay Gordon Hayward all that, but I'm saying take like maybe 20, 25-ish, and give that to Gordon Hayward. That's what I would do. That would be awesome. They've had the Knicks have had a tough time getting free agents the last, I don't know how many years, so why not? Okay. Do you think the Bucks can win with Drew and Giannis? No. Does anyone think the Bucks can win with Drew and Giannis? Give me a break. Do the Lakers sign Ibaka or Anshel? I don't know who Anshel is. I think if the Casey say hi, love your videos. Hey, Sergio, what's up, man? Keep doing more. I will not stop. Do you think Joe Harris would have been a better replacement for Clay instead of Oubre? Yes, I do. Joe Harris is better on defense. I think Joe Harris is a better passer, but it is what it is. Free agent Wesley Matthews is signing with the LA Lakers. That's good. So, the thing with the Lakers is they've got all these guys who are opting out, like Markieff Morris, Rajon Rondo. We'll see about Avery Bradley. Who else has opted out? They've lost Danny Green. And so at first, that's right, KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope has opted out, right? And so the thing about the Lakers is you're like, oh no, all of these players who contributed to a finals, to a championship run are opting out, maybe going. Honestly, to me, as long as they have LeBron and AD, I don't care who they replace those players with. To me, all of those players who are opting out, like we're talking about, those guys are replaceable, right? I know Markieff Morris contributed. I know that KCP contributed. He totally did. KCP was really good. Danny Green was a disappointment. I think that the Lakers, whoever they sign, look at this. Wesley Matthews just signed. Is Wesley Matthews going to be about equivalent to Danny Green? Yes, he is. And you know it. How bad was Danny Green, especially in the finals, shooting what was he in the finals? 30% from three, something like that. He's supposed to be a three-point specialist. It's a joke. So all of these people worried about these opt-outs for the Lakers, this is overblown. It's total BS. As long as they have LeBron and AD, they're going to be just fine. They're going to sign guys like Wesley Matthews, which we just saw. They're the Lakers. People will want to go there. Let's see. Yeah, no, that's just someone else reporting Wesley Matthews, which is cool, man. That's cool. Did we have any new super chats that while I was ranting came in? Nope. We're just chatting, which is cool, dude. We are waiting for some. I got to be honest. I thought we were going to have more news like that, but we haven't. And that's okay. It's all good. Only you can prevent forest fires. Remember that. Okay, I have a question. I love you guys for doing this, but why am I getting Twitter followers because I'm live streaming? What is that? I'm live streaming on YouTube and I'm getting Twitter followers. It's really weird. Okay, so guys, let us continue talking about our next topic here. And that next topic, what the WTF are you drinking? Water. It's really boring. Great. We got another Twitter follower. What is going on? What are you guys doing? Thoughts about Harden, says Tuna. I love that name. Your name is Tuna. That's a great name. Stop, y'all. Y'all are great. Thank you for following me on Twitter. I appreciate that. My thoughts on James Harden are that, okay, the followers, it's funny. It's really funny. That's great. You're blowing up my phone when we're trying to live stream here. So 3.6 million for Wes Matthews. Wow. The Lakers, 3.6 million. That's a lot more than I thought. Wes Matthews, a 1-year, $3.6 million deal. That's really interesting. Rio, what do the Bucks need to do? Rio, your guess is as good as mine, man. Wow, what do the Bucks need to do? Well, the first thing is sign Giannis Antetokounmpo to the Supermax. So the first day that Giannis can sign the Supermax is 30 minutes ago. He could have signed it, right? And if I was advising Giannis, I would tell him, do not sign the Supermax. Don't do it. He can get that exact same dollar amount at the end of this coming season. It'll still be there on the table for him. And some people might say, well, what if Giannis doesn't sign the Supermax right now? $230 million, by the way. And he tears his Achilles. It doesn't matter because we just saw Kevin Durant sign about the max after tearing his Achilles. So I think that $230 million Supermax will be on the table no matter what. So beyond that, I think that you're all hilarious for following me on Twitter right now. It's really funny. I think that the Bucks need to sign shooters. The Bucks just lost Wesley Matthews to the LA Lakers. That is a huge loss for the Bucks. I mean, dude, yes, they need shooting, but like they thought they were getting Bogdan Bogdanovic, and now the Milwaukee Bucks just lost Wes Matthews to the Lakers. Like that is awful. The Bucks go from a team that thought that they were going to win free agency and a trade, 2 trades, in fact, a sign and trade with Bogdan and the trade with Drew, keeping Giannis happy, proving that they're willing to do anything to mishandling things. And now, we're going to know if Giannis is one step closer to going to the Miami Heat, or if Giannis is one step closer to going to the Toronto Raptors, or if he looks at this situation, how they mishandled this in Milwaukee and said, you know what, I'm out of here. I can't win. You guys cannot build a team around me. You've done the best you can. It's just not good enough. Their second best player is still Chris Middleton. That, to me, sums it all up. Okay, we've got right here from Kevin Jackson. Do you think Fred VanVleet is worth a near max contract on the Knicks? What is the max the Raptors should spend on retaining Fred VanVleet? So I think that Fred VanVleet should get around $20, $21, $22 million. I don't think that the Raptors should give him any more than that. I know that the Raptors can afford that, especially if they don't bring back like a Serge Ibaka or a Marc Gasol. They could bring back Ibaka and Fred VanVleet, but you don't want to sign anyone else outside of that because they want to retain that money for Giannis in 2021. Do I think Fred VanVleet is worth a near max to the Knicks? Boy, that's a tough one, isn't it? Look, Fred VanVleet is a better player than Gordon Hayward, and I just said that I would give Gordon Hayward $25 million. So, yes, I think that they could give Fred VanVleet that. It's tough, isn't it? Fred VanVleet has been big in big games, just cold-blooded in the finals. So, he's as good as it comes right now in this free agent market. I think if you're the Knicks, you have to ask yourself, if we don't spend this money on Fred VanVleet and he'll take it, like, what are we going to do with that money? Are we going to get one of these big free agents next year? Kawhi Leonard, for example, is a free agent next year. Like, if we don't give this to Fred VanVleet, do we think we're going to land someone better or not? Because if the answer is no, then yes, I think Fred VanVleet is worth a near max from the Knicks, which is your question. If you can't get someone better than Fred VanVleet. So if you're a Knicks fan, Kevin, my question to you is, do you think they can get someone better than Fred VanVleet? I don't know. I think the answer is no, which is really horrible for Knicks fans. Sorry, man. Brady just sending a thank you with no question. Thank you, Brady. It's very nice, man. Very, very nice. Okay. Any more super chats? Ooh, here we go. All right. Colin Reed says, what do the Thunder do tonight? Join the Patreon. Yeah. What do the Thunder do? I don't see the Thunder doing anything meaningful. I see the Thunder already doing a lot of their noise in the with the trades that we've seen go down. The Thunder are just collecting first-round picks. We all want to see what happens with those first-round picks and what they end up doing. But I don't think that the Thunder do a whole lot in free agency. The Thunder are in the business right now of letting really good players go, right? So, they had Chris Paul, they let him go. And obviously they let him go, getting something back, which is great. The Thunder flipped Kelly Oubre, who's 24 years old, for I believe it was 1 first-round pick. And so, what do the Thunder do in free agency? I don't see them doing anything meaningful. If they were going for it, wouldn't they have kept Chris Paul? Wouldn't they have kept Kelly Oubre Jr.? Yes, but they didn't. So, they're in some rebuilding mode. And I think one of the most interesting storylines for the NBA right now is like, what does Sam Presti do with all these picks? What does he do? What is the big plan? That's going to be really fun to find out. Okay, so do we have any news that has broken since we've been chatting and super chatting? Let's see. Casey, I'm watching the live stream right now. Could you tell us what the Warriors do? So somebody named Michael knows that I'm getting like push alerts on Twitter, so he just sends his question through that. What do the Warriors do? Could you tell us what the Warriors do? Something realistic. I think every fan wants to know, but who is your favorite team and player? Okay, that's several questions there. My favorite team, I don't have a favorite team. I'm sorry to say that. I just don't. I don't. I grew up in Houston, Texas, and should the Thunder trade the picks for a star or draft them? Wow. It depends on what the situation is. I mean, you know what I mean? It's if you think that there's like a guaranteed guy at number 1 in the draft and you want to trade up and get him, then you do that. If there's a superstar that becomes available who's young enough to build around, like a Ben Simmons, like you would trade picks for that. So I think it all depends. All right, what do we have here? What should the Warriors do? Well, I think what the Warriors should do, well, those are two different things. What I think they should do and what they will do, right? Because what they will do is probably nothing beyond this, because other than a trade, because the Warriors have money to spend, which is crazy to think because they're so far over the cap. But the Warriors have these exceptions, okay? And so if you watch any of the off-season videos or any of that, you know about exceptions because we talk about them. And so, the Warriors have the taxpayer mid-level exception, which is over $5 million. They've got perhaps a disabled player exception. But I don't think that the Warriors are going to spend anymore. They're already so far over the cap. By himself, Kelly Oubre Jr. is going to cost them $60+ million next year because of his $14 million salary. But then also, when you go over this luxury tax and you're a repeater, you have to pay $4 for every $1 you're over. So he's going to cost them $60 million by himself as Kelly Oubre. That's it. And if they bring on anyone else, the Warriors, they're going to have to pay a bunch for them too. So what are the Warriors going to do? I don't think the Warriors do anything else. All right, somebody just asked, Gallinari to the Heat? No, Gallinari will not go to the Heat, man. Miguel, here's the deal. Right now, we've got who just re-signed? Goran Dragic just re-signed. Myers Leonard just re-signed. Who else is Miami bringing back? Jay Crowder, right? Love the channel. Go Warriors, says Holty Pie. Thanks, man. I think I know you from somewhere. Holty Pie. Maybe not. Thank you, Holty Pie. And so don't call me a dumb A, Jimmy G. Butler. Here's the deal, man. The Heat had $21 million in cap space if they let their people go. If they let Goran Dragic go and if they let Jay Crowder go, the Heat could have $21 million in cap space. But they didn't do that. They're re-signing their guys. So Gallinari will not go to the Heat. They don't have any cap space anymore. So you can forget about, Gallo to the Heat. Look, Gallo will probably go to the Atlanta Hawks or the New York Knicks. Also, keep an eye on Charlotte. The Charlotte Hornets have $19 million in cap space. So they're going to get one of these free agent guys. The Detroit Pistons have $9.5 million in cap space. Montrezl Harrell to Charlotte? Yeah. Listen, hey, Lucas, what up, dude? All right, so here's what Lucas says. Lucas Gates, one of our favorites. He is a Patreon. Lucas says, Woj is saying earlier that Fred VanVleet is going back to Toronto. By the way, thanks for the expansion draft fit. Of course, dude. Lucas is a Patreon, and because he's a Patreon, he gets a video request, and he requested the expansion draft vid if y'all guys saw that. So look, Fred VanVleet to Toronto, Lucas, but guess what? Woj just reported. I'm going to pull up the report right now so I can read it verbatim. Oh no, here we go. This isn't an easy free agent market for centers, but a former All-Star getting early traction right now is DeMarcus Cousins. Very interesting. But I'm going to read the Fred VanVleet tweet so I get it right. I can't find it. Doesn't matter. So look, Fred VanVleet is going to Lucas. Fred VanVleet is going to talk to a bunch of teams. That's what I believe Woj just tweeted about 10, 15 minutes ago. So, what Fred VanVleet wants is as much money as he can get, probably. I mean, that's what I would think. He's an undrafted guy out of Wichita State. He stayed in college all 4 years. I don't think anyone saw him having this career that he's having, right? And so now he wants to cash in on the biggest payday of his life, set his family up for generations. I don't think that he's going to do the Raptors like a sweetheart deal, a hometown discount. I don't think he's going to do that with Toronto. So the teams that can really pay up are two, the Atlanta Hawks and the New York Knicks. And if either one of those teams wants to steal Fred VanVleet from the Raptors, they can do it because Atlanta has $44 million in cap space and the Knicks have $35 million in cap space. But if they don't want to pay up, then yeah, I see Fred VanVleet re-signing with the Toronto Raptors. Absolutely. Because they can pay him the most other than Atlanta and New York. That's it. So someone talked about Trez going to Charlotte. Now, here's the thing with Montrezl Harrell. At one time, I think we were all talking about him maybe being like a near max player. That just seems foolish at this point. But I think that Trez can get 15, 16, 17 million maybe. The Charlotte Hornets have 19 million at their disposal. 19 million in cap space. And so if the Hornets want to get Montrezl Harrell, they can have Montrezl Harrell for sure. And yeah, I mean, I could see the Charlotte Hornets. Look, the Hornets need talent everywhere, right? So they could sign any of these big name free agents and it fits with what the Hornets need. Absolutely. Someone said Serge Ibaka to the Lakers. Did you guys see Serge? It was on his Instagram. He put on my way to, and it was he was in a private jet, and Kevin Durant's brother commented Brooklyn. So that's not a report. That doesn't mean anything, but the key with Serge is that if he goes to any team other than Toronto or New York or Atlanta, then Serge is going to take a lot less money. Serge would have to go from 14, 15 million all the way down to 9 million if he goes to the Lakers or one of these teams. Display Data says he likes the panda in the back. Thank you. It's the panda. He likes rice. I love it. Someone's spamming LeBron to the Lakers. That's funny. I like that. It's very funny. I'm looking for some more super chats. I'm trying to zero in on these. I don't know. I don't see them. Let's see. You single? No, I am married. What do we got? Lakers got Danny Green 2.0. Yeah, man. I'm telling you. Wes Matthews. Good for him. This is water, by the way. This is a 45-minute live stream. Wow. This is our third ever live stream. So, guys, let's talk some channel stuff real quick, just with you guys, because, we got a super chat. Here we go. Jeffrey says hi. Hey, Jeff. What up? So, guys, here's the deal. All right. I was thinking about two things for the channel, and I want to get your feedback. The first thing is maybe a chat like this once a week, like a live stream, like we do stream Sundays or something like that. That's my first thing. And then the second thing was, did you guys see the Onyeka Okongwu story that was posted on the Lewis Newman? What up, dude? Did you guys see the Onyeka Okongwu story that was posted on Thursday? When I was thinking of doing something like that every Friday and calling it like Feature Friday, where we do a feature on a player and you guys maybe even request the player. But every player has a backstory. Every player has something emotional that happened in them, whether they were an underdog or they've got beef with someone or, whatever the case is, they overcame injury, something like that. And we could do a Feature Friday every Friday. And like the Duncan Robinson, I don't know if you guys remember the Duncan Robinson video on the channel. It was called the inspiring story of Duncan Robinson, that kind of thing. So the Duncan Robinson story, the Onyeka Okongwu story. When I worked in TV, you guys know I was on TV. the thing that I did the most on TV was those feature stories, those emotional stories, because in local TV, no one cares about sports in local TV. They care about like feature stories. And then when I got to CBS Sports in Miami, where I was actually all I was talking about was sports, then they cared about sports. But for the first like 6 years of my TV career, all I did were these feature stories. So I have this like skill of putting these stories together. So I figured maybe every Friday we do a feature Friday, and I kind of use that skill that I have of telling those kinds of stories. And I think it would be really fun. Hopefully you guys like that. Maybe not. I don't know. All right. So plan to stream on Twitch, says Lucas. Lucas, here's the deal. I don't know anything about Twitch. Look, honestly, I don't know anything about any of this stuff. Twitch, YouTube, I'm new to all this. So if you think Twitch is a good idea, here's my question, Lucas. Why would I switch to Twitch? I mean, we're doing this here. What does Twitch have? I don't know. David says, love your content. Keep it up. Giannis is not signing with Toronto. And then he laughs. Also, Toronto probably loses Terrence Davis. That would suck big time. I totally agree. He is key to their depth. He is one of those young guys that just came out of nowhere that they find. All right, so who do we have? So that was David. Got it. Okay, David. Thank you, David, by the way, for saying that you love the content. I really appreciate that. You guys are amazing. All right, what else do we have? We've got was that last one Lucas? Yep. Yeah, Lucas. I don't know anything about Twitch, man. I really don't. It's why would I go to Twitch when we have this? Maybe I'm ignorant on that. I don't know. All right. Do we have anything new? Do we have any new free agent center? Oh my God. Wow. Is anyone else as shocked as I am about Mason Plumlee? What? Free agent center Mason Plumlee has agreed to a 3-year, $25 million deal with the Detroit Pistons. That's not much, but okay. $25 million divided by 3 is what, everyone? 8? Something like that. I know, I'm dumb. I have to do 25 divided by 3. 8.3. All right, you know what? That's not crazy. Once I saw that it was a 3-year deal, I was like, all right, no big deal. So basically it's 8. Yeah. So Mason Plumlee signs an $8.3 million deal. That's no big deal. Okay. So that means that the Pistons have no more money. The Pistons had $9.5 million in cap space. The Pistons are done. Take him out. Do you think Julian Newman will make the NBA? Honestly, dude, I don't know. I saw that Korzemba stuff. What is that all about? I don't know. Alejandro says, yes, do both of them. Films and Sunday streams, maybe Saturday, and do it on YouTube for sure. It's just easier. Okay, cool. Yeah, films Friday, features Friday, something like that. And maybe we'll put a poll. You guys know I love doing polls, right? I do polls so much. I don't know why. Whenever I come across like a really interesting question, I put it in a poll. And maybe we'll do a poll like every Wednesday about who this week's Feature Friday should be. Ishan asks, where's my wife? Putting it here for later. Twitch gives you minimum $2.50 per subscriber per month. Amazon Prime users get 1 complimentary sub. You have to pay to subscribe on Twitch? That's how that works? That's crazy. Interesting. I don't know, man. I'll figure that out. I don't know. This is all new to me, honestly. You guys know I put out these 5 videos per week. So like what I end up doing is I like, everyone's saying no, check Woj. What I end up doing is these 5 videos per week. I barely have time to get my head above water to plan for Twitch or any of this stuff, right? So like I'm just churning out this content. Case Kieran is not going on Twitch and is only live streaming on YouTube. Sources tell me. That's funny as hell. All right. What did Woj say? Woj's latest tweet is free agent center Mason Plumlee. Yeah, whatever. We already saw that. All right, y'all. Did he talk about the Thunder? Yeah, Charles. Listen, man. Yeah, man. I don't think the Thunder are going to do anything major here in free agency. They don't have cap space, and they're letting a lot of these good veteran guys go, like Kelly Oubre Jr. and Chris Paul. I think that if the Thunder do anything, it's going to get someone who can sort of mentor them, and because they're losing a lot with Chris Paul in that locker room. The over-under asks, what if Jeremy Grant signs with the Suns? That would be really good, the over-under. I assume you're a Suns fan. Let me ask you this. How do you feel about Mikal Bridges and who is their other forward? So they lost Kelly Oubre, obviously, the Suns. So their other is Cam Johnson, and Mikal Bridges. How do you feel about those two as your forwards? You would probably rather have Jeremy Grant, right? I don't think, Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson with what? Bol is playing now that Plumlee is gone. That's a good point. Bol could be their backup center. That's huge. Do you have an opinion on Campazzo going to the Nuggets? No, I don't. I didn't even know he existed. So good for them. I hope he works out. Let's see. Ethan says Montrezl Harrell predictions. I think that Montrezl Harrell will go to one of two places. He will go to the Atlanta Hawks. No, sorry, not the Atlanta Hawks. I just looked at Atlanta on my screen. He will go to the Charlotte Hornets or the LA Clippers. Montrezl Harrell, obviously key to what they're doing in LA. And for the Clippers, what they need to focus on is re-signing their own free agents because they're over the salary cap. And so, that's the only way that you can go over the cap is to re-sign your own guys. And so the Clippers are going to focus on re-signing Trez, Marcus Morris. But the only way that Trez leaves that situation is to get a little more money, and if he goes to Charlotte. So, I think the Knicks are pretty set with Mitchell Robinson. They want him to develop. We all know that the Atlanta Hawks, the other team with cap space, is set at center. Now they have Onyeka Okongwu, Clint Capella, and then they have John Collins, who plays a little bit of center. There's no way that Trez goes to Atlanta, right? So really, to me, it's a two-team race with Charlotte and with the Clippers. And how much Trez to Charlotte buzz have we heard? Not a whole lot, right? So we'll see what happens. All right. Jordan C says, hey, I just joined. Can you update me? Yeah, man, honestly, Jordan, we're just reacting to any news that comes in. And we right now haven't had any earth-shaking news. There are 4 teams with cap space, Jordan. And that's the Hawks, the Knicks, the Hornets, and the Pistons. So the Pistons just used their cap space on Mason Plumlee for an $8.3 million deal over 3 years, $25 million. And so, beyond that, we've got the Hornets, the Knicks, and the Hawks. So that's who we're looking to use this cap space. The big fish really now is Gordon Hayward since he opted out. So where does Hayward go? Does he go to the Pacers on the sign and trade? We thought that, that might be done not right away, but eventually. Fred VanVleet apparently is talking to multiple teams. So we're keeping an eye out on that, but we're not going to have any imminent news on Fred VanVleet. So a lot of the big free agency decisions aren't going to be made right away. That's okay. We're streaming right now. We're chatting about where free agency stands. So Robert Thibodeau, by the way, Tibbs, do you pronounce it Thibodeau or Thibodeau? Can you let me know in the chat? Montrezl Harrell sign and trade for Terry Rozier. That would be great. My question is, why would the Hornets do that? Why would the Hornets get rid of Terry Rozier for Montrezl Harrell and be a hard capped team? So if you do a sign and trade, you're a hard capped team. And they can just sign Trez with cap space, so they don't need to do a sign and trade. So I don't think a Trez sign and trade for Terry Rozier is realistic at all. I don't think so. Do you play fantasy basketball? I do, Peter. Not a whole lot anymore, but I used to be obsessed. And Peter, actually, we're discussing a deal right now with one of the major daily fantasy companies, which would be great. And so there is a chance that we're going to do a daily fantasy collaboration with AM Hoops and one of the major daily fantasy companies that are out there. I don't want to say which one, obviously, before we complete the deal, but there's a chance that we do a lot of daily fantasy on the channel coming up. It wouldn't impact our normal schedule of posting, but there's a chance that we're going to actually talk daily fantasy on the channel here pretty soon. That would be cool. Can the Pels flip George Hill and Eric Bledsoe within the rules? So can the Pels trade for Eric Bledsoe and George Hill and then flip them right away? I'm going to be honest. I don't know. I know that sucks because sometimes it seems like I'm a know-it-all on that stuff. I don't think so. I know you can't sign a guy and trade him immediately. I know you can't draft a guy and trade him immediately. And the other thing is, like, if they were going to do that, trading George Hill and Bledsoe, why wouldn't they have done a 3-team deal, right? But I don't know, man. I will get back to you on that. Do I have any kids? No, I don't. I do not. Let's see. All right, y'all. We have been streaming for 56 minutes. This is huge. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but your name is Matej Vana. Says Mavs third star. That is a huge question. I do know that the Mavericks are not going to commit to anyone long term. So if the Mavericks are going to trade for someone, they're not going to take on a salary that's beyond next season. And the reason for that is the Mavs are one of the major players to get Giannis Antetokounmpo. JP says, love your channel. Cheers from Australia. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Big time. But yeah, so the Mavs third star, guys, I don't see the Mavs getting a third star this offseason because they're not wanting to commit money beyond this season, right? And I think that the Mavs, gosh, are they favorites to land Giannis? Maybe, yeah. Because they've got a lot to offer in terms of talent, in terms of depth. They sure need defense, though, and Giannis would help with that a lot, too. Yo, Casey, who's your favorite player? You know what? My favorite player is Kawhi Leonard. And the reason is because he's so damn talented. He was underrated for a while. And I covered him in San Antonio. I have a video of me effing with Kawhi Leonard. He was signing cups, and all the media was there because we were going to interview him about something, maybe making the all-star team or something. And he's signing cups, and I don't even know what to say to him. And I'm just like, so what's it like to sign 500 cups? And he's like, you know, he's Kawhi. He's like, and so I'm making like the worst small talk of all time with like an NBA great. And the video's on my phone, but if I looked it up, it would take me like 5 minutes to look up, and that would be boring as hell for you guys. So I won't look it up, but it's funny. And so Kawhi was underrated for a long time. I like that he doesn't beat his chest. I love that Kawhi just does his job, puts his head down and kicks ass. My favorite thing about certain players is the players who all they care about at the end of the day is winning. And I love that Kawhi doesn't give an S about winning the MVP. Kawhi would never campaign for his own MVP. He doesn't give a shit. You know what he cares about? Finals MVP. And by the way, he doesn't even throw that in your face. He just goes and works. I love that. Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi is probably my favorite player, but he's okay. Oh, stop it. That's funny. Let's see. Any news on Harden and Westbrook? Nope. Nothing. What is my favorite NBA team? I don't have one. I really don't. Where do I think Gordon Hayward will go? I think he'll go to the Indiana Pacers. And the reason I say that is because Shams tweeted, if you are the Pacers, would you trade TJ Warren and Miles Turner for Hayward and Time Lord Grant Williams? Yes, but here's the deal, man. I forget who asked that, but you don't have to give up Grant Williams if you're the Celtics. You can just trade Gordon Hayward. So that's what I would do. I think he does go to Indiana because Shams reported that Gordon Hayward is zeroed in on going back home to Indiana, where he's from, where he lives in the offseason, where he went to college. And if that's true, then the Pacers are probably going to do what they have to do to get him. And I think a sign and trade involving Miles Turner benefits both the Celtics and the Pacers. So there's just too much going on there for that not to happen. What do you think the Bucks should? Who do you think the Bucks should sign, and how much cap space do they have? Asked Rio. Rio, not only do they have no cap space, they're a hard cap team. I think that they should sign someone who is a shooter because they just lost Wes Matthews. They also thought they were going to get Bogdan Bogdanovic. They're not going to get Bogdan Bogdanovic. That fell through. And so I think that they need to sign a shooter. And right now out there, we talk about so much free agency that whatever shooter the Bucks get, he's not going to be a game changer. It's just not going to happen. That guy doesn't exist out there. But what I think the Bucks should also do maybe is try to trade for like a Victor Oladipo. He's going to be the cheapest star that you can possibly get. They don't have many first-round picks to trade. They do have Dante DiVincenzo to trade. He's a good young player. I would see what deal they could put together to get Victor Oladipo because he is the biggest potential, highest ceiling player the Bucks could even dream about getting. So if I was Milwaukee, I would do everything I could to get him. That's it. Let's see. What do we have? I'm not sure. So, guys, we've been streaming for an hour now, and that's it, really, guys. I just wanted to jump on here and talk with you guys, and just kind of see if any huge news broke. But we haven't had anything earth-shattering. We know that the biggest free agents are Fred VanVleet, Brandon Ingram, Christian Wood. None of these guys have re-signed with their teams. Gordon Hayward. And so, they're feeling it out. They're negotiating right now. If the big deal goes down, like Gordon Hayward, I'm going to drop a video on that. But this was a lot of fun. I think that we're going to do the feature Friday from now on. This week, we will have a feature Friday. And I think we should do a live stream once a week, at least. That's going to be good. So that's it, guys. Thanks for joining. Looking forward to any big breaking news coming up. Just posted your live chat on my page to NBA fans. Well, I'm sorry, but I'm wrapping up because we've been streaming for an hour, and I think that's good. But guys, let's do this again. This was a lot of fun. So thanks, guys. Later.